Hey everybody, it's your old pal Robert from ThrillRide.com. How you doing? So today I'm at a place that I have wanted to visit for quite a long time, the Museum of Neon Art. Now this is pretty close to where I work, and for a few years had been driving by watching it get built, and it finally opened just before the pandemic started. So as much as I love neon, it's taken a while to get in here, but it has reopened to the public, and I am very excited to go take a look around. So let's check it out. Right out front they have this giant Clayton Plumber sign. The leak stops here. Nice. Well, I'm not sure if they light this up at night, but it appears to be off at the moment. But this is a pretty cool big sign for Zinks Repairs with a big animated hammer smashing down onto something. Yeah, that's an impressive piece of work. Just love the diving woman perched on the top of there. And yeah, there's a couple of other things in the windows we can check out too. It's going to be a little hard to make out behind the glare of the window, but here behind the glass on the exterior of the building is a minimalist kind of neon art piece that is designed in memory of the 1.5 million souls lost and the millions who were displaced globally during the Armenian genocide. There's one for you Friends fans. They don't really watch the show that much, but didn't they all hang out in a place called Central Park? Anyway, we're on the eve of that big HBO Max reunion special, so I guess this is a little timely. This is a very pleasant greeting as you come in the front door. The old howdy folks frog. So right inside the front door, already seeing a lot of beautiful examples, and was informed that most of the pre-existing neon here is from Southern California. Oh, good old Sears. Yeah, that was a pretty big shopping brand when I was a kid, and it is pretty much gone by the wayside nowadays. Wow, here's a little piece of neon art for sale for $600. I have never seen neon incorporate little moving bubbles of light like that. That's beautiful. Oh man, this is a gift shop that's going to be very hard to walk out of without something in hand. Oh, these are really cool. So this is pretty intriguing. It looks like an example of an old laundry sign with a lot of vintage neon equipment here. Bent glass tubes and transformers and all kinds of stuff. Oh. And look at this device. Man, it's like right out of Frankenstein's lab. Awesome. Yeah, as a commercial art form that has become more and more accepted as a strictly creative art form, I am all on board with more neon in museums. So beautiful. A dime a dance. Oh, I'm in. Now, of course, little inflation, so it's actually a quarter a dance, but here we go.
Oh, he's gonna do it.
There we go. See what happens. And I approve of the surf rock instrumental here that he's getting down to. Oh yeah, look at him go. Yeah, look at the mechanics that are pulling the strings up there.
Yeah, it is kind of like a big version of the thing we were looking at in the gallery.
Love it. They have this very helpful sign explaining the art, craft, and science of neon, but I was given a little kind of Reader's Digest version by the very helpful attendant who greeted me. And it's basically hand-bent glass filled with different kinds of gases that are charged with an electric transformer to make them glow. And depending on what gas you use will determine the color of the neon. Yeah, maybe a little hard to see through the glare, but this is the electric lab where they teach courses. And right here out front too, they have a brief history of neon that dates all the way back to 1858, when Heinrich Geissler produced light in sealed low-pressure tubes by exciting them with high-voltage alternating currents. And it's just grown from there. Very nice. All right, here's a piece created in 1974 called Buck Rogers that we can activate with the press of a button. Kind of a neon version of a classic Jacob's Ladder. Again, right out of Frankenstein's lab. All right, here's a piece called One for May and June and August from 1976. You have to press on a pedal down here. And there you go. All kinds of things going on in there. So here it is right inside, 40 Years of Light, works from the Mona Collection and Collective. For the past 40 years, the Museum of Neon Art has been a haven for artists who valued experimental approaches towards luminous, electric, and kinetic artwork. In the late 1960s, neon signs and the use of neon as an integral part of architectural forms were in decline. However, the dawn of a new age of neon as art was approaching. Artists like Carissa Dale Chihuly, oh, that amazing glass sculptor, Stephen Antonikos, and Brian Coleman, among others, began crafting the luminous tubing associated with the signage industry into sculptural forms. Right on. All right, let's start looking at some beautiful light. Yeah. Oh. I'm in my happy place. I really do love this chair where neon is not the dominant element, but it's kind of creepy and cool. And once more, here's this amazing kind of tracer light effect. Very subtle though. Doesn't seem to have much intensity. I like that. Huh. It actually took me a moment to realize that this sort of abstract looking shape here seems to be the figure of a human being hung by their feet by a rope. Or in a more optimistic interpretation, they're diving. You decide. What is that figure? Hanging by a rope or diving? And when you're here, to be sure to look up on occasion, because there are some pieces hung from the ceiling, including these kind of cool little stick figures. I don't know whether they're supposed to be swimming or floating or what, but kind of adorable. So I didn't realize that this particular sculpture is voice activated. That is awesome. I'm already seeing things in neon that I'd never seen before, like this green tubing wrapping around the thicker blue tubing, and the alternating green and yellow colors in what appears to be one tube, but must be created with separate tubes and transformers. Look at this. I don't know how this effect is accomplished, but it almost looks like a kaleidoscopic prismatic thing going on in there. Really beautiful. If I had the wherewithal, I'd love to install some kind of art piece like this in a place where I lived. That is awesome. All right, and here, just like that little plane sculpture outside, these 4 awesome neon pieces. And again, they've got those little like rows of ants marching through the tube. I don't know how that's done, but that is fantastic, and adding another kind of layer of kinetic energy to them. So cool. Well, I'm sure some of you are familiar with the classic His Master's Voice campaign of a dog listening in on the audio horn of an old record player, and something a little bit of a darker interpretation of that. This appears to be some sort of mummified dog with a Hannibal Lecter face mask on. I'm very impressed by the scope of work in here. You got some of these more traditional wall-mounted pieces, and then something like this, which looks to be an old wheelchair with 2 large red rings of neon, some white neon going on inside there, and a bumper sticker that says Nixon's the one. Any ideas what this is supposed to mean? Feel free to leave your interpretations in the comments down below. this kind of thing where the illusion of motion is created by a repetition of shapes that light up in sequence. The best. And this circular parade of airplanes moving up and up. Oh, magnificent. I don't know whether this is a foreign language I don't recognize or just a bunch of abstract shapes, but it's quite beautiful. And I'm very much enjoying the clicking and humming of all the transformers in here that are activating the various pieces. So these appear to be two pieces that were saved from active commercial duty. Of course, I think everybody, if asked what's the most common neon sign you've ever seen, it's the vacancy no vacancy sign out in front of hotels around the country. And this Lincoln Market, just great. I love the kind of crumbling paint on the background. Oh, if only we had more little motels with this kind of branding and signage. I love that a ton. I don't know if any of you have ever been to Wildwood, New Jersey, but there are a cluster of little seaside motels that are just trapped in time, right from the 60s. So great. And I love this racehorse. I'm not sure what this means. Win with winning wire. Something to do with the racetrack. And I guess that flickering 3 bars of white are supposed to be the jockey urging the horse onward, but that could be interpreted in more than one way, I think. So as it turns out, they had to do a little forensic study of this win with winning wire to figure out what its actual provenance was. Apparently it dates in the 1920s, and they weren't 100% sure what exactly this was for, but in uncovering some of the text on the painted panel behind the neon, it seems to be an advertisement for some kind of racing publication. The similar sign was seen in a photo of an old newsstand in the same area. So I guess winning wire might have been one of those sheets you studied before you put your money down on a pony. This is really fantastic. It is an animated sequence of the space shuttle flying by. That is really beautiful. Might be a little hard to read being backlit, but there's a nice little display here. Do you notice the blinking of the lights and the clicking sound? Do you wonder what makes the light change? This is called an animator or flasher, and it connects different circuits. It pulses electricity selectively through different circuits, and when the electricity is going through the neon tubes, they shine bright. When the electricity turns off, they go dark. Huh. And there it is. A little animator. Nice. This is neat. So the La Palma Chicken and Pie Shop restaurant is a photo of the signage when it existed in public. And here it is, rescued and preserved. Yeah. Awesome. Here we have a sign for Dr. Kills-Him. His patients all die. Let's hope that was never actually employed for some real practice. And I love the little pink rats crawling up the right side. And dig this Chinese dragon. Now, it's going to be hard to see. Unfortunately, it's kind of hidden behind some other elements, but this thing is gigantic. Oh, I wish I could have seen this when it was actually beckoning patrons to some establishment. Yeah, at some point, it'd be interesting to find out which gases are responsible for which colors. And you can see there's a lot of subtlety here. There's a very vivid red, and then a kind of a little bit cooler kind of orange there too. Yeah. You really got to wonder how people slowly figured out which gases produced which colors. Funny, at first I thought this might be an old drugstore sign missing the D, but no, that appears to be complete. Some place that just sold drugs. Oh, and here is an old sign for RCA Victor, and there's the little doggy who was listening to his master's voice. Yeah, that one looks to be a little happier than the previous interpretation. So right around the corner here on the wall, they do explain what some of these neon signs were taken from. And the big dragon is from Grauman's Chinese Theater in 1957. And apparently it was donated by Paramount Pictures with thanks to Hollywood Heritage and restored in 2018. Awesome. Here's another one I want to take home right now. This little devil head with the kind of creepy red eyes that extend forward. Yeah. Oh, that's sweet. That's another pure art piece. The Dynamite Bunny is a favorite. And is this some sort of little Twilight Zone homage? You got the E equals MC squared, and I'm not sure what animal skull that is supposed to be behind this behind this neon. This is pretty clever. They've created the illusion of almost like a molecular structure here, but it's only half. And the neon is up against a mirror that provides the other half of the shape. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, somehow atomic age and neon, they go together really well. Okay, so I was curious as to what this particular sign was supposed to represent, or whether it was ever employed at a retail establishment. And sure enough, there was apparently a store in Melrose called the International War Babies Boutique. And this saluting infant, and this little storytelling panel up here were part of that retail establishment. See the plane and somebody jumping out, deploying their chute, and the chute billowing. And I guess the store closed, but the Museum of Neon Art rescued these elements in the early 90s. I'm hoping we're able to capture this, but there's a little quiet corner back here, and it's an exhibit of plasma being used for all kinds of really cool effects. Oh, so badass. Look at this, it's almost like a black light display. And I love those balls. I can't remember what those are called, but yeah. Magical. That's so great. And then over here on the wall, it's very subtle little art of kind of glowing fish. Yeah, that's beautiful. All right, I think that's going to bring this one to a close. So if you're in the Glendale area and you're anywhere near the Americana at Brand, the big shopping complex, that's kind of on the heart of the commercial district here, right across the street, the Museum of Neon Art. Highly recommended. Very inexpensive, and while not the biggest collection, it is a really great mix of both restored and preserved commercial signs and custom artwork created strictly as art pieces. Yeah, it's pretty great. I love neon so much. Anyway, thanks for coming along, and we'll catch you in the next one. Well, there you go. Mona loves Glendale, and we love Mona.